Hi, it's Andy, and today I'm bringing you my January TBR. January, new year, new start, kind of same TBR-ish. Most of the books on my TBR are books I hauled in 2024, so that is exciting. Everything's fresh, new, nothing is staring at me, had been there for ages, even though there are a couple that have been there for ages, but the point is, new year, new start, fresh go at the TBR. Sorry if you can hear my computer fighting for its life in the background. It is trying to do a couple of things at once, and yeah, so it's a little bit loud, so apologies if you can hear that. I'm so excited for this month's TBR because I've just pulled a bunch of books that I'm excited to read. I've got a fresh start going. I've got a brand new 12 and 12 and a brand new pick cup, and that is this. Now this is all of my Kindle reads, not including the ones on KU, but this is all of the books that I have purchased in some way that are on my Kindle. Tori literally sat and wrote out all the bits of paper and put them in this, and it doesn't really fit them. So yeah, we are gonna pick one from this jar, and then go through the TBR that I want to get to as well. We will also be this year trying to do more rereads because I keep these books so I can reread them. So why am I not rereading them? This year is going to be so much more chill, and there's no there's no stress in this one either because Threads is out of the way. It's just going to be nice and chill. So in saying that, I am going to pick from this first just to see what I'll be reading for my 12 and 12. Now, I've gone through my 12 and 12. There's a video for that already. Here are the picks. And I'm just going to go straight in. This year, I was smart and put the details on the bit of paper. So, who is going first? Here we go. So, our first 12 and 12 pick for January is going to be upside down, of course. It is Pia. Great. Okay, this is the one I didn't want to read, but it's fine. I'm getting it out really quickly. Right at the start, we are getting this out. So the first book we'll be reading in January for Pia's pick for my 12 and 12 is Small Island by Andrea Levy. This is a post-World War II book, and I don't know why, but I'm really intimidated by it. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe because it won a prize. I don't get on very well with books that win prizes. I know that sounds stupid, but they always just seem to be too intelligent for me. Like, I don't understand them. I'm done. And I don't get it. I just seem to be, if it wins a prize, it's too dumb for Andy. No, Andy's too dumb for it. Oh my god. I'm actually so thick. I don't know how to summarise this book properly, so I'm going to read you the back. It's 1948 and England is recovering from war. But at 21 Nevern Street, London, the conflict has only just begun. Queenie Blythe's neighbours don't approve when she agrees to take in Jamaican lodgers, but with her husband Bernard not back from the war, she has little choice in the matter. Gilbert Joseph was one of the many Jamaican men who joined the RAF to fight Hitler. But when he returns to England as a civilian, he doesn't receive the welcome he was expecting, and it's desperation that drives him to knock at Queenie's door. Gilbert's wife Hortense, who for years has longed for a better life in England, soon joins him, but London is far from the golden city of her dreams, and even Gilbert is not the man she thought he was. Small Island explores a point in England's past when the country began to change. In this delicately wrought and profoundly moving novel, Andrea Levy handles the weighty themes of empire, prejudice, war and love with superb lightness of touch and generosity of spirit. So yeah, when you read this, it just sounds incredible, but like I say, normally when it wins prizes, I'm too dumb for it. So this will be the first book of my 12 and 12. I really hope I love it. I feel like I'm either going to love it or I'm going to be too dumb to get it, you know? And the prompt that P has given me for this is to read a book with a name in the title, and for that I'm going to read The Truth According to Ember by Danica Nava. This is a Native American rom-com, so this is also the first romance novel by a native picked up by a large publishing house ever in 2024, which... So yeah, go and buy this book and show publishers that we want more diverse reads, especially in places like romance, because romance is severely underrepresented for people of colour, and especially Native Americans, because like I said, this is the first one, so we need more. Anyway, this is about Ember. and she's a bit of a liar, and she lies herself into this job because Native Ember doesn't get jobs. She sends out her CV and Native Ember gets passed over. However, White Ember, she gets jobs. So she puts in her CV as a white version of herself, gets a job, and then gets kind of caught up in her lie, as far as I understand it, or gets caught up in her lies, multiple, especially when she meets another native at her place of work, and he starts to, I'm assuming, unravel things. I have not heard anything about this because, like I say, it's not very well known, but I'm excited to read this, and yeah, I'm very excited to be reading something that is so new, and a perspective that I've never seen before, and oh my god, this is a great excuse to read this book. Next, we will pull from the Kindle Cup. Now this is going to be a bit more difficult because it is like stuffed to the brim. Oh, that one fell out. Okay, we'll use this one because it fell out. I don't know much about what's on my Kindle, so this could be bad. This could be bad. What is it? Free floating. I know nothing about this. Let me Google it quickly. Okay, so Free Floating is apparently a New City 90s romance. Whatever that means. So it's set in the 90s. So it says, Fliss can't stand Adam the arsehole, whose annoying but gorgeous face she has to ignore at her crappy office job every day. After accidentally inviting him out on his birthday, she takes him to her other job, working at Teddy's pub and drumming in a band. What she doesn't expect is that the tight-jawed IT guy is actually kind, thoughtful, and doesn't hate her, but the thing Fliss expects least is that he's into her and wants to introduce her to his world. Adam can't believe it. Seeing Fliss play the drums and finally able to speak to her without raging anxiety changes him. He's only had play partners and is increasingly lonely, but for Fliss, he takes a risk and tells her who he is and what he wants. As Adam slowly unpicks her secrets and introduces her to his lifestyle, an opportunity to make her career in music leaves him with a choice. Let her go live her dream or hold her back. If you love them, let them go, right? So this is a book, I remember now why I would have chosen it. So it has on-page epilepsy rep and neurodivergence, with him having his social anxiety and things like that. So it is neurodivergent, disability rep, and I think I got this on a Kindle, Stuff Your Kindle Day. So I'm really excited to see how this goes. Now for the books that I've actually pulled from my shelves. So there are 4 in here that are from my TBR and 2 that are rereads. So like I say, I'm rereading more this year, so this will be the start of that. So the first is a sequel to a book I read last month before, and really enjoyed, and I am desperate to get to the next one, and that is That Time I Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf. My god, these are so hard to say. This is the second and follow-up to That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon, and oh my god, did I love that book. It is absolute utter chaos, but I loved it so much, and this is, like I say, the sequel. And it follows a werewolf character who we met, and the best friend of the main character from the first one. I am so excited. Like, I literally cannot explain this to you other than the fact that it is high stakes, low stakes, chaotic fantasy that is filthy and absolutely not for someone with a weak disposition, as it were. Next, again, we're going in with the sequels, and that is Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison. This is the 3rd book in the Lovely Farm series. I don't know if it's got another name for the series, but we'll call it the Lovely Farm series. So this is book 3. This follows 2 characters that I was so excited to find out that's who it followed. I'm not going to tell you who, because some people don't want to know this for sequels, because it's built up in the previous 2 books, so you'll get it when you read the books. But yeah, but basically this is about a guy who has liked the girl for ages and has been too shy to tell her, and she's been totally oblivious to this, but everyone else is well aware. So this is when they finally get together, and I'm so excited because I loved the other 2 books in this series. And then we follow up with another series sequel, and that is The Cuban Heiress by Chanel Clayton. This is the last book in the Cuba saga, and I'm actually quite sad to see the end of the series. It has been a long time coming for me to get to the end of the series, and honestly, I think every book has gotten better than the last. and I'm expecting this to be no different. This follows characters who I've not met yet, and I don't know how it fits into the others, but I'm excited to find out. Chanel Clayton writes these books, this series about the Perez family, and it follows lots of different people, or women really, within very different places within this family tree. And each book usually follows 3 female characters, and one is always a Perez. And it follows these characters throughout Cuban history. So the first started off talking about the family as it was exiled from Cuba, and after, what's his name, took over. Honestly, cannot get his name in my head. But when Cuba sort of shut down and became communist Cuba, and then we see other points in time where there's different revolutions in Cuba and things happening with the US, and it's just so interesting the way she's framed these historical backdrops with this one family and the characters, and seeing how they all fit together within this narrative. I absolutely love it. And seeing the other characters that tack on as well, and you can make a map of like where these characters fit in, because there's a character in 2 previous to this, the last train to Key West, I don't know which number that is, and she then pops up later on in the book I read, the last book I read, and I can't remember what it's called, but the one before this, and I was like, oh my god, it's her, I know, I understand her backstory, and it's just so exciting when you see people pop up like that. But this is based on a cruise ship in 1934 that apparently becomes a fight for survival. So we shall see how this goes. And then again, we're talking more sequels. Look at me go! But this one is for the Chronicles of Exia Read Along. So the book for January is the Study Chronicles. We're finally on to the new material. The Study Chronicles was written, or was published very, very recently. I think it was 2023. Yeah, 2023. So this is a collection of short stories that happen throughout the books, and potentially before, after, in between, and I'm so excited to get to this. This is the first time all the stories have been bound together, and some extra stories as well, so there's material in here that even Tori hasn't read yet, and I'm so excited to get to it. I cannot wait, because this is just a whole new, thing to me, and it will just open up the world so much more. If you want to join us, I'll leave the link down below, as I always do. And then the 2 rereads that I'm doing this month, and that is Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I might get to Fourth Wing in December, I might not, so I'm putting it on the TBR just in case. But Iron Flame, I think I'm going to push into January. But again, we'll see what happens. I mainly want to read these, so, oh, they are heavy. If you see my tabs here, there's one major difference you will probably notice, or maybe not, because the colours aren't great on this. So one thing you may notice is that this book has yellow tabs and this book does not have yellow tabs, and that's because while I was reading this book I decided to tab a specific thing, because that's how tabs work, and I want to go back and reread this book so that I can put those tabs in for that specific thing that I decided to tab, see if I want to tab anything else. And then the exciting part, Vicky is going to read this with all of my tabs in it, because she wants to know, she's interested in reading this from kind of almost my perspective. And yeah, I'm really excited. This is the first time I've done something like this. Like, I've seen things where people have done it with friends, where they have like a copy, they each have a copy of a book, and they each annotate it, pass it on to the next friend, annotate it, pass it on to the next friend, annotate it, pass it on, and they read it with each other's annotations in it. And I think that's just incredible. Like, so everybody annotates it, and they all have copies that have been annotated by each of their friend group. And this is kind of not quite like that, but like similar in a way, because like, yeah, I am so excited to reread these, and it follows on to the rest of what I'm going to be reading in the month of January. In the month of January, I do have some pre-orders coming in that I want to read right away. Like, my pre-orders this year, or for January, or for 2025, have literally, I'm looking at them now, and they're literally either special editions of books or sequels or authors that I've read before. So it is very picky, the books that I've pre-ordered. Now, there are 4, like I say, coming in January that I would like to get to. The first of which, probably very obvious after what I've just said, is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This is the 3rd book in the Empyrean series. Empyrean? I think I'm pronouncing that right. And that is like the Fourth Wing third book basically. So I am also wanting to reread those books so that I can go into Onyx Storm fresh and ready to just dive straight into it. That comes out on the 21st of January. Before that, there's also Swept Away by Beth O'Leary. That's another one that I want to read straight away when I get my hands on my copy. And then on the 28th of January is Spiral, which is the second and companion book to Collide by Balcabra, and this follows two of the friends of the two main characters. So they are hockey romances, and I think college hockey romances, and then they just like follow different characters, kind of like what Hannah Grace does with her series. So yeah, Collide is the first one, and Spiral is going to be the second one, and I'm so excited because it's got such a beautiful cover. And the last book that I want to read, hopefully I'll be able to get to it in January, possibly not because it comes out on the 30th, so I don't know when I'm going to get my hands on my copy. I might be starting into February, just depending on the post and things like that, but it is Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. This is the, again, sequel / companion novel to Out on a Limb, which I had to go check the title of that book there for a second. So Out of the Woods actually follows one of the couples that we see in Out on a Limb, who are already established. Like, they're married, they've been married for years, they've been together for years since college. Like, they are the it couple. But things in their marriage are not quite what they seem, and cracks are starting to show, and so they go on this sort of trust outing in the forest with this company. It's kind of like the Talia Hibbert one, is Something and Unfairly Cute, I can't remember what it's called, but this is like for married couples to let them get to know each other again. So it's like a second chance romance, but with a couple that are already married, which is kind of like, it reminds me of the Sarah Hogle book, You Belong Together, You Deserve Each Other? You Deserve Each Other. My books are over there and I can't see them properly. But yeah, it reminds me of the Sarah Hogle book, and I loved the Sarah Hogle book, You Deserve Each Other. I've just clocked it. So I like this kind of, I don't like second chance romance all that much. Like, if your romance, it didn't work out, and I don't know how to classify second chance romance, like if they were childhood friends, or they were like almost together and then got separated somehow, like somebody moved away and then they moved back and then they start a romance. Is that a second chance romance? Because I class that as a second chance romance. And that kind of second chance romance I like. Couples who have broken up for a good reason and then get back together, I'm not a fan of that kind of second chance romance. Now, there are some books that do it where like the couples break up and it's kind of something out with their control, or the reason is that they need to work on themselves to be better together. Like, they know that they are better stepping back, and then later on they maybe meet again, or they get back in touch again, or whatever. That kind of second chance romance, again, I like. But if it's like somebody's done something horrendous in the past to make them break up and then they get back together, and I'm not a fan of that. But this is the kind of second chance romance where it's like they are together and they're kind of, it also reminds me of Ever After Always by Chloe Leese, because again, that's the same thing where it's a couple who are married and then things are happening in their marriage and they have to sort of find themselves again, like each other. Anyway, yeah, I love that version of the trope, so I'm very excited about this. And Hannah Bonham Young does not miss. I challenge anybody to read a Hannah Bonham Young book and not love it. But yeah, so that I'm hoping I can tack on to January. If not, it'll go into February's TBR, because I am so excited about this book. But yeah, it comes out end of January, so with the way I devour her books, I could read it in a day, could read it in 2 days, depending on when I get it, but we shall see when I do my wrap up. There we go, those are all the books that I hope to read in January. I may read more, I may read less. I'm not going to stress about it. I have the first week off completely from work, so I am planning on just relaxing and reading and just getting to what I can. I am actually very excited for every book on this TBR, and that's the whole point. Like, we're not stressing. We're not going out of the way to get stressed about this TBR. And yeah, I'm really excited. If you want to leave me a comment to let me know you're here and you don't want to sit and type one out, if you leave me some kind of dragon emoji, because I'm really excited about Onyx Storm and finding out what happens next. And please let me know what books you're excited for coming out in January and what books you're excited to read in January. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next video. Bye.